So this is the web page DoOrDIY, where users can add DIY guides and other users can search for them and follow the guides.
So when you go to the web page, this is what you will see. So this is the front page, and you can see a lot of different guides. But let's start with registering a user. So we click on the button register, and then we come to the page where you can register. We'll just take an example like that, and then we register the new user. So now the user has been registered. The next step is, of course, log in. And then we press log in and we're on. So let's go back to the home page where all the guides was. So here we can see a lot of different guides. We can see the name of the guide, the creator, and the instructions. There's also tags to be able to search for different or specific guides easier. Some guides have a lot of instructions or text. On those we can press more to read everything. We can also like a guide. If we want to find guides with a specific word or area, we can search for that. For example, if we search for text, we get all the guides that have the word text in them. But let's create our own guide with a little bit of text and a tag. So then we can submit that guide. Now it's been added. And if we go to our profile page, we can see all the guides that we have created. And here we can see the most recent guide that we created just now exists there. And also here. Let's look at the code.
This is the main HTML page. It's nothing really special. The looks of the page are just simple bootstrap, and this index.html basically just contains all the views and all the other files which are more interesting. And this the app.js, where simply link all the views together. So this is the view for showing all the guides. As before, the looks are just basic bootstrap things, and we have a search, the search function, which filters by the search box, and the submit form, which calls a function add item, and it's just a bootstrap form also. And over here is where we list all the guides. So it's a list, and it uses this ng repeat, which is an Angular function, and here we specify what we are filtering by, which is the search box. So this is the guides.js, where all the things happen. So this works in the typical Angular way. So we have a controller which does all the things. It calls the service which has a function put guide, which is what is called when we press submit on the form, and it's a basic HTTP post function which posts the data which is in the form to and sends it via CORS to as a JSON file to the Ruby backend. So this is the view of the profile page. It works in basically the same way. It lists it's linked data from Angular, so it's oh. And in this view we also have we need to get both users and guides, so we can check which of get the right data from the database. So we compare the list of users from the database to the one which is currently logged in, and the current user is kept in the root scope, so all the views can connect to it. And then it's simply going through all the users' guides and display them in a list as in the same manner as in the guides page. So the register page is just a bootstrap form, and it works in the same way as the submit form in the guides page. Yeah, this also works in the same way as the guides page. So you take the data from the form and call the function in the service. In this case, it's called put user, which calls the post function and posts a JSON file to the Ruby backend. So the last thing is the login controller. This is the main controller, which has the scope of the entire app. But we mainly use it for keeping track of the current logged in user and to check if it's the right password and so on. So it basically reads the users from the database and goes through and it has a function which is called when you press the login button, and then it goes through those users and checks if the input username is in the database, and if it is, it checks the password, and if it is the same, then it will change the root scope's current user to that name. And also we keep a boolean in the root scope to check if we are logged in or not, so we set that to true. And then we change so the button becomes a logout button, and when that is pressed, it's called the logout function, which basically sets the current user to nothing and logged in to false. So yeah, and that's our page.
Yay!